Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we build products in public. Each week, we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we share our struggles, our wins, and everything in between. I'm Brian. I am in Orlando, Florida, and I am feeling rested.
I am Benedicte. Today is November 23rd. This is episode 117, and I am feeling perplexed.
Perplexed. So do you want to give a little bit more a description on that? Because we were trying to, what is this word?
I'm just trying very hard to be creative with my with the feelings wheel that we have now included in. Should have it included in every show note. No, I'm feeling like I'm feeling I have a really good rhythm to my days. I feel like I'm very focused, but also I'm just feeling like the time is just like whoosh. It's almost Christmas, and so I'm like perplexed. Like how did that happen? I've been so focused. How did that time? But maybe that goes together. Like when you have that focus and rhythm to the day, which is good, but that also means that you have kind of less, I guess, variation to your days, and that makes time seem to go faster.
Yeah, it just flies
maybe.
By. Yeah, when you're in the flow, hours just melt away. But you said you were saying
I've been doing a lot of coding, so so that's probably why.
Yeah, you were saying not in a feeling rushed or anxious, stressed out way. Like, oh gosh, I don't have enough time. It's not that you were saying. It's just that loads and loads of coding and the hours are just evaporating.
Yeah, and also, but maybe a little bit of that for like this whole school term, half year. I don't know what you're saying in America. That it kind of just semester. Went by really quickly. But I also think when I look back over all of the updates we've had, I've seen I've done a lot. Not everything has come to fruition as I wanted it to. But I do feel like I have that platform. I think we talked about last time you were on that things are moving in the correct direction for the Gatsby Authority kind of business. But you weren't here, but the boot camps were not that many. I had to cancel the second one. Okay. And then I ended up reusing all of kind of the prep I've done to that to create plugins, or I'm creating plugins that people can use with kind of the same code that I would have demoed. So this week I released another. So you weren't here, but I YOLO'd a little bit. After canceling the bootcamp, I was like, I need to do something fun, and I created a Gatsby plugin called Let It Snow. So if you add it to your Gatsby site, it will snow on your site when people land on your site. So a little bit of a nod back to the my WordPress days. I don't know if you had a WordPress site that snowed.
Yes, no, totally.
Yes.
It does remind me of those fun little internet of old, just quirky little fun things.
Absolutely. And it was well received, and I'm going to share it again. But I think I had NPM is saying about 200 downloads last week for Let It Snow, which I think is a lot of fun. Obviously, that's not, people, because NPM, I think, just tracks installs. But anyway, there were some activities there, and as people who were listening and not on vacation, Brian, my kind of strategy here is to release these as plugins and then link to my site and my email list in the README to see if anybody comes through that way. And then when I have landing pages ready for advanced use cases. So the thinking, so with Let It Snow, it's not going to be, that's probably not going to lead into any course. It was a super simple. It took me about 40 minutes to make, but super fun. But that led me into, the point was, and then this week I've released Gatsby plugin donation, which is a plugin that lets you accept pay what you want donations on your site without having to do any of the server-side code, because I realized you can ship Gatsby serverless functions inside of Gatsby plugins, which is mind-blowing. That will be so powerful. I don't think people have realized yet how powerful that will be for the plugin ecosystem, but my mind is just, I was feeling so creative last week. I was like, whoa, I can make all the things now as plugins. And then next week I'm going to release Gatsby plugin GitHub authentication. So GitHub authentication and pay what you want were the two bootcamp topics. So my plan now is then to create landing pages for those two bootcamps, but as async courses, and see if anybody comes through from the plugins and also through other content, and then make the one that I get the most kind of waiting list signups for first.
Yeah.
So
that's a really smart way to sort of see what gets the most interest and what. Yeah.
Hopefully, but I don't know if anybody ever clicks these things on the plugins. But I think, though, especially for both GitHub authentication and donations, I think you want to make it more customized. So then I can be like, hey, you want to customize this, or do you have a more advanced use case? Join my course and I'll teach you how it's done so that you can customize it to your needs. So I think those two can funnel into that, but we'll see. But all of this coding, and especially Let It Snow, that was so easy to make. I ended up setting up semantic release, which does all of the release for you. You create really nice commit messages, and it makes a change log. It publishes to the NPM registry. It even comments on the issue saying this was closed in whatever version was released. So it's my new tech love. I'm in love with semantic release.
And okay, so and is it NPM that is parsing that out for you? It's specifically for that, or how exactly does that work?
So semantic release is an NPM package that you can add to your project, and then
gotcha.
And then to make it all automated, you create a GitHub action that runs it on every push. And what it does is that it looks through your commit messages, and if you have fix : then in one of the commit messages since you last pushed, then that will bump the minor version. And then, or not the minor version, I mean the fix version. They just changed names. It's not called major, minor, fix yet. It's called breaking, feature, bug. Anyway, the semantic version numbering, they just changed the name. So if you have fix, it will just bump the last kind of number and then the least significant one. And then if you have feature : it will bump the middle number. And then if you in somewhere in your note write breaking with big letters, then it will actually create a new major version for you.
That is pretty cool.
I mean, it's super cool. And you don't have to do it on all commits. So what I do is that I commit whatever I want onto a feature branch, and then or a bug fix branch, and then when I push that or merge that into,
when you merge it in, then you bump it with the keyword. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then also it creates the change log for you. And as I said, they have different plugins, and I even added the plugin that then goes and looks at the issue references. So it will go in and comment on that issue and say, hello from semantic release bot. This was solved in version X, which is, I am just having so much fun. Now I can create all the plugins, because now I have a starter with all of this set up, and I just create a plugin and I can start committing, and it will just immediately start creating these releases for me. So
sweet.
I've had a lot of fun. I don't know.
I can tell.
I'm setting up all my automations.
I can hear it in your voice and see it on your face. You're just. Yeah, you're in
Such
your
a
element
nerd.
here. No,
Such
it's
a nerd.
awesome. Well, and I imagine especially, the more of these plugins you create, your boilerplate gets better, your processes get faster, you'll just be able to be spitting them out.
Yeah, so that's kind of the hope, and I want to create some that are really, really small, just to cover a lot of little use cases to hook people in, and then upsell them on some courses or pro versions if I figure out a good way to sell pro versions, like we did with WordPress, or still do with WordPress.
Yeah.
So on the automation track, I also almost finished an automated process so that I can write my emails in Markdown and add them to my site, and then an RSS feed is created that will then push it as a newsletter, so that my emails will also be available on my site, because some of them are I would say some of them are pretty good, and then people can reach them from search.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
of course,
totally. Anything you write, like get a little bit of SEO play from it, and yeah.
And then also see what people land on, what they search for, because that is also a clue as to what people are having issues with. So, I'm feeling like my engine is like, it's really like ramping up.
Really starting to cook.
So I'm feeling like 2022 will be just like Gatsby authority business, just flying.
Blowing it up.
I'm on the runway. We're like,
yeah. Yes. That's awesome.
But that's what I've been doing. And then my last update is that Thursday it's going to be the last episode of our Gatsby deep dives with Queen Ray and the Natter Mob Pirates of season 2. Okay. We are coming back with season 3 of the Pirate Show, I think in late January. We plan to have like a longer break. But then Miriam, who did a webinar on TDD, test-driven development, for Gatsby serverless functions, she she came back to me. We had such a good time on the webinar. So I'm gonna help her when she is rebuilding her conference buddy site in Gatsby. And then she'll come on the stream every Thursday with me and ask me questions, or I'll help her with anything that she might be stuck on with her Gatsby site. And
Sweet.
So Conference Buddy is her initiative to help people feel more comfortable at conferences, knowing who they can hang out with, and I think even connect people ahead of the conference so that that you have a friendly face kind of in the audience. If it's your first conference, or if you're going along alone or feeling anxious, then Conference Buddy is there to help with that. So that's a cool thing she is doing, and also she's long overdue for a site. And we all know if you have to do it on stream, you actually do it.
Yeah. Yes, right. So greatest accountability. That's awesome.
And really funny. If you're listening, Miriam, because she's actually a friend of Benedicte's, which I didn't know. So we know her from like 2 completely different like paths.
Oh, wild.
Wild. And then
it's pretty cool. That's so funny. So say it again. When are you going to be doing? When are you going to be doing this?
Next week.
Okay.
I'll be starting the Conference Buddy series on my channel, and then my partner Ulla has started streaming on my channel as well, and that I can see an uptick. It seems like YouTube likes it, that there's more stuff happening.
Oh, nice. Also Gatsby content, or what's he putting up there?
Yeah, it's also Gatsby content. So he is a little bit more junior than me. So he also does, like, he works on some Gatsby stuff. It's been Sundays. I think it's been 3 Sundays now. So he's finding his form.
Cool. Yeah, I can imagine, like, it just takes a while to get comfortable. I mean, it takes a while to get comfortable just podcasting, but being live just feel
live coding is
extra.
A different beast.
Yeah, it feels like an extra thing.
So he's been on our show so he's a part of the Gatsby Deep Dives show. He's kind of the host. But on his show, he's the one coding, because on the Gatsby Deep Dive show, I am always the one that codes. So it's like it's a different experience.
Well, yeah, different role.
A different role.
Totally different role, different responsibilities. Yeah, what else?
I respect that when you're not a senior developer, because I feel like my skill level drops by at least 40% when I'm live streaming.
Yes, no, because your brain is split between multiple focuses and pressure and everything.
Absolutely. So, but that is super cool. So I think we're going to just focus on, YouTube and Twitter and the emails and the plugins, I guess, as our marketing channels for the
nice
funnel channel. I need to learn all these words. But
I mean, inputs,
top of the funnel.
Yeah,
something like that. But it's been really nice coding a lot. And Benedict asked me last week if it's just like a form of procrastination, not having to sell anything. And it's definitely a little bit of that. But at least I'm getting some good stuff out of it. And some systems in place so that I can YOLO some plugins here and there if I feel the need to be creative and still have them work for me. Because before I would like figure these things out and then the code would just be sitting on my hard drive, or like it would be on GitHub somewhere, but like they weren't.
Well, but not serving any purpose or
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also not like being released, because manually releasing things on NPM is a pain. But now it's semantic release. All my problems are solved.
Oh man, you really are a fan.
I'm really good at being a fan, though. Like I can find tech, and I become a groupie for quite some time, and then you always find some kind of problems, or there's something that is not the 100% the way you want it. But I am still I'm a total groupie right now for semantic release.
Just loving it. Third or fourth album, though, you might start to they've sold out. It's just never as good as the old stuff,
And
Classic.
then they come back for some like virtual concert. And you're like, nah.
Whatever. You're just trying to put on an addition to your mansion.
Exactly.
No, that might be cynical about that. Wait, what else? Anything else? Anything else big happening?
Anything else? While you were gone, Benedict and I have been holding ourselves accountable for walking.
I've been seeing all these Slack messages.
So Benedict has been walking, and I've been doing my yoga, and I've been doing really good. I usually have Saturday as a cheat day, and then I ended up completely forgetting on Sunday, so I didn't do it this weekend. But on the weekdays, it's no longer a chore. It's more like I get excited and look forward to it.
Something to look forward to, totally.
But then I have a trigger. So my daughter leaves the house and I do yoga. But on the weekends, I don't have that trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And also I like to sleep in. So, but then on weekdays, I have to get up to help her get ready for school.
Right.
But if I do it every weekday for a long time, I think that's still going to be good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised also if just as the habit continues to get formed that on either Saturday or Sunday, one of those times, your body's just going to want to do it. It'll be its own trigger. Ideally.
Absolutely.
Suppose.
I think that's it from me.
Cool.
We've gotten some leads though on doing kind of Gatsby consultant work.
Oh, sweet. Well, I assume sweet. Anyways, does that feel like okay, cool?
I think that feels. It's not going to be my main focus. It's going to be Ola's main focus, my partner. So I'm going to be focusing on the plugins and starters and that type of thing. And he'll focus more on Gatsby contracting. But we're looking into doing kind of Gatsby maintenance and helping people upgrade from version 2, because we see a lot of people are stuck on version 2, and we could package a service that will let people or will help people upgrade, or will upgrade for them from version 2 to version 4. Yeah, so that's why I'm not talking that much about it on this podcast, because I feel like that's kind of like Ola's business, and then I have my kind of more fun business.
Yeah, your thing.
He enjoys maintenance a lot more than I do.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's good to know your strengths, especially if they are complementary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we figured out. They are really complementary. Just have to put them together.
Yeah. Figure out how to make them work.
Well, work together. But anyway, what's up with you, though?
Yeah, no, I have to confess that I have not listened to last week's episode yet.
Yeah.
The Grand Canyon was just it's just the most amazing place and experience. This is the third year in a row that me and a group of friends have spent a week backpacking down there, and it's just the most relaxing and refreshing experience. It's funny to say, let's throw 50 pounds of weight on your back and then walk for miles and miles in the hot sun, and that's fun, but it really, really is. um, in the moment, you're like, you're aching and all of that, and you just want to sit down. But yeah, it's just so different than modern life. Not to sound all curmudgeonly about it or anything, but like, it's just really hard to find that sort of structure and delineation between your work and rest. Up here.
What was the word?
Delineation, like a very sharp and strong border between two things. So like, here it's always possible for you to be working on something. You know what I mean?
I definitely know what you mean.
Yes.
I'm like,
maybe
we all should look into another semantic release plugin tonight. Yes. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Because it doesn't matter if it's dark, you've got electricity. Doesn't matter if you've done, everything on your to-do list for today. There's some other like big picture strategy thing, or tomorrow's to-do list that you kind of like the obligation to want to do those things can sneak in. Backpacking, particularly in the Grand Canyon, where you have absolutely no cell coverage whatsoever, and so there's no temptation to check anything else or be distracted by anything else. And the only work for the day is to put everything in your backpack, go from point A to point B, go gather up and filter some water, and then you're done. That's it. And so it just feels so completely different than modern life. So we a lot of the time we were talking about it. Everybody feels the same way. We feel the same way every single year. And it's a fool's errand to think that, that like day-to-day regular life would be able to mirror that or to be like it. Like, it's just going to, we all kind of agree, like, it's just going to frustrate you to think that you can have so perfect and structured a rhythm up here, because we just have more responsibilities, more distractions, etc., etc. So that's not the goal. Instead, we were just saying like the focus should be is just to be grateful for how refreshing it feels down here, and to notice the things that we miss while we're down here and be grateful for those when we get back up. So it was an amazing, gosh, just an amazing time.
I think I've had a week like that, and yeah, that is probably too long since I can't remember.
Well, yeah, I think if for me as well,
it was out the family, right? It was just you and some
buddies?
Me
and some friends, and but not even. I think just the realization, like, when was the last time you did not have cell coverage or an internet connection for more than 3 days?
I don't know.
And seriously, when? Before it existed?
No, I think maybe. So when I was in India in 2009, that was the last time I left. No, I brought my phone, but I didn't have it on because of, data traffic being really expensive and just international phone calls. So I remember I turned it on once because we were stuck on a train and there was like there were some demonstrations and some fires on some train stations. Anyway, I got a hold of somebody in Norway, but I didn't have it on. I think we were like almost at the Pakistani border when we were on this camel trip, and we didn't even know because like we didn't have GPS, like we didn't have our phones on.
Oh goodness, yeah.
And I don't, and I like now I probably would have had it on, and there would have been like a GPS kind of track on Google Maps from where I was. But but I think that was actually the last time, because Norway has really good coverage. Yeah. So even if I go in the mountains, I have coverage. Like, we have no places like the Grand Canyon that doesn't have coverage. So then you have to be very
Mm-hmm.
mindful. You have to like leave. I have a friend who borrows my cabin sometimes, and then she will leave her phone at home and go, and
That's
only
awesome.
yeah. Sometimes she brings like a dumb phone,
Yeah, just
that
for
can
an
only
emergency. Yeah.
from emergencies. And one time I didn't know, and I got really scared. I'm like, what? Like, because she didn't answer me, and she usually answers, at least within 24 hours, and she didn't. I was like, oh my God, is she? But then she
Yeah.
told me she left it. Anyway, yeah, but yeah, so 2009 for me. When was the last
Yeah.
time is it every year? So you,
Yeah, this week every year. I mean, and that's kind of like, the point and the reminder. And it's only going to get more ubiquitous. Being able to be connected in one way or the other. It's not going in the other direction. Um,
until it all
and
comes crashing down.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh gosh. So
Like,
yeah, then we'll all get we'll have all the time offline we could ever possibly want.
and we will
Um,
not be the ones to survive
and
because we don't know how to make our own
yeah,
food from
yeah,
the earth.
yeah, yeah, totally. Hey, speak for yourself. I've got a tiny little garden, 3 feet by 6 feet. That'll totally
Oh
feed a
yeah.
family of five.
Oh yeah.
Um,
We made 5 tomatoes this summer, so
oh
we're
yeah, good
getting
for you.
there.
Yes,
We're getting there.
totally. 5 whole tomatoes. Um, yeah, it was cool. We had a couple of just beautiful campsites underneath this just monstrous, feature in the Grand Canyon. It's called Zoroaster Temple. It's just kind of iconic and beautiful sunrises. The full moon was amazing. I loved it. I loved it. But now I'm back out. Opened up my email yesterday, and there was plenty in there. So the job is going well. Job's going really good. Definitely some expected challenges and bumps that come with any brand new thing, but I can already tell the projects that are getting assigned to me, the work that I'm going to be getting to do once I really get my feet underneath me. I love it. It's gonna be really, really, really great. Um, yeah, yeah, and so I think so. In just having all that time on the backpacking trip to think, um, and just get some perspective on things, and just sort of, yeah, I guess, yeah, just getting some perspective and thinking about like the next year. I am starting to feel like I am probably ready for an extended break from bootstrapping.
Uh-oh.
Um, and yeah, just being able to have one, one primary professional focus, and then the rest of my time is for like my family and my hobbies feels very restful.
It does.
Yeah, but balanced against, that I know that I will probably not want a salaried job forever. I will want to at some point, jump back in to working for myself, working on my own thing, owning my own thing. And so that's why, it feels much more like, yeah, I'm ready for a break. Not, I'm done with this, forget it all, didn't work out. Do you know what I mean? Like the distinction there feels very clear to me that
Yeah, so you can see your way, you can see coming back to it, or
for
that you want to
sure
come
I
back to it.
know I know I will want to. Um, but right now I also can feel and I know that I yeah, a break sounds really nice. Um, sounds really nice. I've like
Breaks do
I
sound now.
I think just the parts of it that have started to feel a little bit tiring and exhausting to me is just I don't know, just like what is it like, just kind of needing to know what everybody is up to, being on Twitter and staying at least somewhat up to date with what's happening, where are the trends, what's working, what's not, this article, that article, etc., etc. That I normally just really, really love, but I'm just not feeling the passion. I'm just not feeling the energy for it right now. So I think I unfollowed everyone on Twitter so that there's nothing tempting to go even look at. For like the last month, that has felt really great, but it also makes me feel kind of guilty, like, oh, I should be helping to promote the podcast, or I should have a Twitter account for jtpt.app and all those things that I'm just not up for it right now. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
But you might want to examine if it's the keeping up with it all and the Twitter and that kind of stuff that is what you need a break for, or if you need a break from your whole side project. Because I think, or at least that's what I'm hoping with like getting my kind of engine set up, is that I don't have so that I don't have to be constantly on Twitter or like on it to make it work. Like I want to set it up so that it's possible to take longer breaks without everything kind of falling apart. So is it the side project that you're kind of wanting a break from, or is it the hustle, I guess?
Yep.
More.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a really good observation. So what do I what do I want to break from? Feeling like I need to be current on multiple email addresses and domain names. Yeah, I mean, everybody knows that feeling. Like, oh yes, I totally get that. So yeah, and just like so much split focus, I think, is what I just want to break from. And to be able to let my hobbies just be hobbies for a little while.
Could you put some of your side projects into the hobby category? Because if you don't have that immediate need to monetize on it, then maybe you feel less need to stay current and like happening on all of these platforms, and you could just slow and steady. It's my new job to work that in every podcast episode.
Oh yeah, that's right. You've checked the box.
Well, then you could just slow and steady work on that side project, so it's ready for you when you come back from that kind of break. Because I think that's good by you saying it's a break, because then you can do things now that will benefit you when the break is over, as opposed to being like, I'm done with this, and just like delete everything and kind of just just run from it. Like if you know it's going to be a break, you could spend some time like ramping. I can't find the word now. Like
slowly ramping it up. Totally.
Right. Yeah, then you can ramp it. I was meaning the other way. Like you can ramp it down, like controlled now, and then you can ramp it up again if you do it the kind of not correct way, but if you do it with intention, instead of if you get like super fed up with stuff, you often just like leave and there's no way to get back on the horse. Like my metaphors are all over the place.
No, I think you're totally right, and that's what I think that's what I want to be careful not to get myself toward, is like that tendency of sticking with something for too long because you feel an obligation to stick with it, and then when you do that, you end up just getting frustrated and leaving in a huff. Out of frustration, as opposed to, I think winding it down, which doesn't even require that much as of right now. So, but anyway, that's this is obviously a thought that I am still processing and wondering how do I want that to affect my actual week to week. So TBD.
TBD. That is an interesting realization, though. But it's a major step. Well, you did take a full-time job, so that kind of that kind of forces a little bit of a break as well.
Well, I mean, it's yes and no. Like, I mean, I had a full-time job before. Mm-hmm. It's just that it was consulting and much more, and occupied so much more of my mind. You know, it's just it's constant. Like, where's February's revenue coming from? You know, how are we doing on health insurance? You know, et cetera, et cetera. And so it just took up a ton of time and mental energy. And you know, full-time job just takes away all of the questions about salary and benefits. But you know, it does fill up all of the full-time hours, you know, especially just getting ramped up. But anyway, that's kind of
sometimes, you know, when you take a break or you free up mental, as you said, you free up mental space, you also, or mental energy. So you're not getting that much more time, I guess, as you said, it's the same time commitment as your consultancy, but you freed up, and you went for a week offline in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things do tend to make you think about, you know, the long term differently, because you finally have time or not time, as we said, but energy in your head to actually like mull these things over. And sometimes you realize that you want something different than what you thought you wanted while you were you didn't have that time and energy to mull it over. For a week in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah. Well, so that's where my head is at.
But we're gonna follow that up over the next weeks. We'll see where you go.
I've got tasks in the project for the developer that I've been outsourcing work to for the app. So that's at least for now just continuing. It doesn't feel like there's any like giant thing pressing on me to change or make a decision. But it's just whether or not I want to even have that consideration at all, for at least a little while. So I'll be thinking about that. Oh, and so other thing. Speaking of hobbies, is I mentioned that our board game got into the top 10 of this design contest that we entered, and so on Friday I have a play test with the publishing company. They're doing a live play test and interview conversation, whatever, with the designers of the top 10 games, and then they'll be announcing the winners in a couple of weeks in December. So that's what's up.
That would be good closure on that side project if you sell it or it gets published.
Say it. Yeah, sorry. Say again.
That would be a good closure on that side project if it gets to be published by this company or sold to this company. I don't understand or how would that process be.
Yes, if they picked it as one of the top 3, and if we decided to go with them, then they would publish it. We would get like a very small advance and then a percentage of sales. So, but I mean,
still a good closure though on the side project.
Gosh.
That would be like, yes. Then it would be full circle. It'd be like, we did it, we got it done, wrap bow around it, put it on the shelf, and then decide what to do with the other side project.
I know. Yeah. It's
crossing my fingers.
It's really exciting. Still a bit in shock, so I'll have an update on that soon.
Cool.
Well, so that's it for me. Anything else for you? Benedicte is out this week. He'll be back Yeah, he'll be back next.
Well, interesting to hear if he left his phone at home, if he's had a Grand Canyon experience like you have.
Yeah, hope he did.
But probably not, because he's in Europe.
Probably not.
Probably some good cell phone coverage. But
yeah,
but I don't have that much more. As I said, this week went fast, so I just fast. I updated everyone fast here. And didn't give you any chance to ask many questions. But super cool to hear about your Grand Canyon trip and your thoughts about the future. And we'll be back next week.
All right. Talk to you then.
All three of us.